Crystal, presenting from BD lead for MEV Blocker. Today I'm here to share with you building the ultimate MEV protection RPC. MEV Blocker is the #1 RPC for MEV protection. It is built by the OG experts of MEV in the supply chain, including Agnostic Relay, Beaver Build, and CowDAO. Today we'll cover what is MEV, why does it matter? Maybe raise your hands if you still have some energy too, if you know MEV already. Okay, great. Then I can save my voice. We'll do a quick recap here on what is MEV. Well, MEV is the maximal value that can be extracted. Maximal value that can be extracted by block producers in the blockchain network by including, excluding, or changing the order of transactions in the block. When a user submits transactions in Ethereum, it first goes through the public mempool, which is a collection of all the pending transactions. Validators then pull the transactions from the public mempool and add them to the block when it's time to build. Historically, block producers would order the transactions by order of gas fees. But when MEV searches comes in, block producers are now extracting additional value by taking advantage of the ability to reorder transactions. Searchers look into the public mempool and pricing and timing their transactions accordingly. They create these bundles and then pay the validators a higher tip in order to include these transactions ordered in a specific way. These searchers typically run algorithms to detect these profitable MEV opportunities and run bots to capture these profitable transactions at the expense of the users. So there are different types of MEV. If searcher pay to have the transaction go before the user one, it is a front running. It is harmful because the users lose the opportunity that they detected first, or they lose the ability to execute the transactions completely. Back running is harmless one. Searcher pay to have their transaction go right after the user's one. It's harmless because it doesn't affect the user's transaction itself, but then they're trying to capture the price impact of the user's transaction. The worst of all is what we call a sandwich. It's a combination of both front running and back running. Well, who in here has been attacked by MEV before? Raise your hands. Okay. Well, the good news is, or those people who didn't raise their hand is probably, why don't you find out? Go to zeromev.org, an organization dedicated to MEV research. Well, you'll find out whether you have been sandwiched. While ignorance is bliss, we can look into a block analysis to find out here. Here, you can basically find out whether you have been sandwiched in two main ways. One is if the transactions are not ordered by their natural gas order, so typically the highest gas fees will come first. Then there's a high likelihood that there's an MEV attack. The other way that you can detect an MEV in a block analysis is if you see the same trading pair being traded multiple times in the same block. Here, the actual user transaction is the middle one. The user is trying to swap WETH to DAI and Uniswap V3. But then it got front run by a searcher, and then thereafter a reverse trade DAI to WETH as a back run. This, my friend, is called sandwich. Well, this sandwich cost our friend here $15 US, which is not bad. It's a mini sandwich. But while this is a mini sandwich, let's look at what can happen when it comes to a professional sandwich bot here. Jared from Subway, known sandwich bot, according to EVM, which is a data platform that conducts data analysis on MEV, he has captured a profit of 6.3 million in just 3 months. Well, this is just one MEV bot. Imagine many more MEV bots and many more blocks over the network every day. It matters because it's essentially a hidden tax on many types of Ethereum transactions. Whether the user is trading on DeFi or selling and buying NFT or lending tokens in liquidity pool, there's a chance that these MEV bots will opportunistically take advantage of it. manipulate the trades, profit from them, result in failed transaction, unfavorable price, and making users trade worse off. And to date, MEV has been responsible for more than 1.3 billion lost on value for Ethereum users. Well, enough of the problems. We're here to talk about solutions, building the ultimate MEV protection RPC. Fortunately, there are a growing number of MEV protection RPCs. These are the top ones. Number one is MEV blocker. The next one is Flashbot Protect and Blink. There is also a lot of MEV protection aggregators here. Llama Notes, Block Native have included MEV blocker into their RPC aggregator. Blocks are out here too. Today we're focusing on the details on how MEV blocker is designed and built to make it the ultimate MEV protection RPC. Let me give you an overview. MEV blocker is an RPC endpoint that aims to protect users from front-running and sandwiching attacks, so the harmful ones, and then give users a kickback from back-running opportunities created by the user's trade, so the harmless one, and speedily settles the transactions. Here's the order flow logic for MEV blocker. Well, starting from the left side. User submits a transaction. The transaction first go to MEV blocker's private mempool, where MEV blocker's system would decouple the user transaction into two parts. One part is the payload, and the other part is the signature. Then MEV blocker system shares the user transaction information without the signature to all searchers connected in the network, along with AI-generated noise transactions for preventing probabilistic attempts by searchers in exploiting the order flow. MEV blocker system proceeds then gather these kind of, what it does is it auctions off and the searchers would submit bids for the right to background these transactions. The winning bundle is decided by one that gives the most value back to the users. MEV blockers then proceeds to gather these bundles created by searchers and then add the signature. And then forwards the bundles to all the major builders in the network. Builders select which bundles to include into the block, and once it's included, 10% goes to the builder proposer validator fees to quickly include it into the network. Then 90% goes as a rebate to the user or the project connected to MEV blocker when the transaction in the block is executed. Let's take a close look of the design choices we made. So instead of sending your transaction to a public mempool, which is prone to MEV, or to a private mempool connected, that is, well, okay, so basically, it connected to private mempool, it is therefore de facto protected from any harmful MEV. Then instead of losing money to searchers, what you can do now is earn money from searchers. You get rebates from searchers that are connected to MEV blocker because MEV blocker auctions off this right to background to the searchers. Remember, 90% of it goes back to the users of the projects. Strong network of builders instead of single builder. So instead of sending to a private mempool limited to one builder, MEV blocker effectively acts as a builder aggregator, aggregating all the major builders that controls 95% of the Ethereum blocks. This secures fast inclusion time. Instead of some RPC endpoint which leave the users a lot of technical decisions, for me, I'm not super technical, it helpfully helped me decide on all these decisions already. For example, users don't have to choose what kind of builders, new builders out there to connect to. MEV blocker decides, create this list, and vet for you. We have very simple defaults. So by default, we go to the fast RPC. So depending on your needs, fast will allow transactions to get on chain as fast as possible, while also generating backgrounding rebates. While the no revert focuses on making sure that there's no revert possible. In case your transaction is no longer valid, it will stop being broadcast to builders at no cost to the user. If you are super mindful of your privacy and want no one well, no searches to look at what your transactions. You can take the full privacy endpoint, which focused on getting transactions into on-chain directly via builder. This method does not offer a rebate, but well, this is your full privacy endpoint. After all this, why is MEV blocker better? Well, for one, we have superior rebates. MEV blocker is designed to be very easy for searchers to integrate. Unlike MEV share, MEV blocker does not require a new on-chain search logic based on a very limited public information. Traditional searcher algorithm is sufficient to integrate with MEV blocker. What it means is that searchers find it very easy to onboard into MEV blocker. It means that there's a robust competition for searchers and drives superior trade rebates. In fact, it's 10 times better. How so? 600 Ethereum has been returned back to users and in projects already. And that is 10 times more than any other solutions in the market. Low latency and fast inclusion time. Remember, we're submitting to builders that control 95% of the Ethereum block. We also vet them all the time. What it means is that 90% of the transactions are processed in the next block within 12 seconds. If not, very, very likely the block after. Built by experts with deep know-how. MEV blocker is a collaboration project by Agnostic Relay, Beaverbuild, and CowDAO. MEV blocker is built by all the OG experts of MEV supply chain. Well, this guarantees that it is technologically sound. Overall, MEV blocker has the best speed, balanced with best protection, and offer, remembered, 10 times more rebates. Here are some stats. Since our launch in April this year, MEV blocker has already protected 24 billion DEX transaction volume, over 9.5 million transactions, covering 440,000 users, generated and growing rebates to users or projects. So why with users or projects is that if your projects that is submitting order flow to MEV blocker, you can add the referrer to capture the rebates yourself instead of the user. Now, some closing note here. So, well, you might think, why not just send to multiple endpoints? MEV blocker sounds great. That's what most people tell me after my BD call. It's like, oh, MEV blocker sounds great, but then I don't know why somehow my project's already submitting to Flashbot. Great. Why don't I just add MEV blocker and submit to both? Well, that sounds in principle great protection. In fact, it is. To say it's not ideal is an understatement. When you're submitting to both MEV blocker and Flashbot Protect, you're risking leaking information benefiting the searchers. Remember this. Flashbot's privacy model relies on sharing very limited information about the transactions, making it super hard for searcher to front run out of the bundle. MEV blocker shares practically all information about the transaction, and additionally use some AI-generated noise transactions to distract them, to prevent them from exploiting the order flow. Now, let's say you're a searcher, you're listening to both MEV blocker and MEV searcher. What will happen is effectively great. You can get a way around the system, both systems, in fact. MEV blocker will tell you all the core data that Flashbot is trying to hide, and Flashbots will tell you, hey, these are the fake transactions, these are spams. And effectively, what it means is that you're left with much less protection. Sending through an RPC aggregator is acceptable if they channel to MEV blocker and only to MEV blocker. But if they, again, send it to multiple endpoints, the same privacy leakage happens. And if they end up sending it to an inferior version of the MEV protection RPC, then I'm sorry, you won't get rebates and you have much less well protected. Well, Ethereum's MEV challenge is a testament to the complexity in building decentralized, secure, and fair blockchain network. While MEV does pose significant challenges, MEV Locker is here to offer opportunity for us to collaborate and basically protect the users. These are some of our partners, and it's continuously growing more as MEV problem becomes more and more known, and for everyone here as well, we'll be able to collaborate together and make this place a fairer place. These projects prioritize the user's interest first and integrated the best MEV protection RPC. Okay, so we'll welcome you all to join us. As users, you can scan this QR code on the left, and you can integrate the RPC within a minute. And for wallets and Web3 infrastructure projects, you can add me on Telegram. I'll be here all week to make sure that you get integrated ASAP. Thank you everyone for your time, and appreciate your evening precious time. Thank you.
Great.